So this is my, a little bit late, admittedly, July 2022 update on the latest current account news and offers. And let's start off with the latest bank switching deal. It's a brand new one from Halifax Bank. They lasted one about April, May time for 125 quid. This new one, £150. This is the highest amount of money I think that Halifax has ever offered for bank switching. So if you're eligible, this is a great one to take advantage of. And just because you might have had money from Halifax in the past doesn't mean you won't be able to get this one, because the date, the eligibility cut-off date, where if you've had a previous offer you're not eligible, has moved forward. Much like the last Lloyds one did a few months ago, this one now has a cut-off of April 2020. So if you received your money from Halifax prior to that month, you are eligible for this one. Again, as long as you follow the other terms and conditions, and I'll talk about those in a second. This might mean, so I switched to Halifax, God, when it first started in 2013, this was my first switch from Barclays to Halifax. And I switched again when the offer changed in August 2020. So I can't get it this time, but some of you might have switched in any sort of period before then. 150 quid could be yours. So how do you get it? Well, there are one of two current accounts you have to have. The Halifax Reward account. I've done a whole video review of that, taking you through exactly what it is, the other benefits you get with them and how to get those and avoid the monthly fee. So check that one out if you don't know much about it. Or the Ultimate Rewards account, which basically adds in loads of insurances, which could be decent for some of you if you need all those different types of protection and cover. But for most people, I think you're better off shopping around for a different package current account or just buying them individually. So I would go with that rewards account. You either open up a brand new one, or if you've already got it, then that's fine as well. If you've got a different account from Halifax, you can upgrade to a reward account. You do not need to open up a brand new one. You can upgrade. But then the key is you have to switch from a different bank. As you do with all these switching offers, there's lots of content I've got about bank switching, how it works. So check that out if you're not familiar. But switch over. And what's different about this one though, is the first time Halifax have done this, you have to switch to direct debits as well. And they have to be active direct debits that were already in the previous account. Again, if you haven't got those already on your account, maybe this is one of those dummy accounts you set up just for switching. There are a few where you can set up very, very quickly. Again, with all these things, I won't repeat myself. There's a whole video taking you through some of those quick direct debits that you can set up, sending money to yourself in a different account. Won't cost you anything, but they can be active, hopefully, within a week or so. Get that money very, very, very fast. So that's the new one. The other ones that are still ongoing that could go at any time, 150 quid from First Direct, up to £125 from Nationwide, £100 if you're not a Nationwide member, £125 if you are, and we'll come back to Nationwide in a second. There is also 20,000 Virgin Red points from Virgin Money. They are the main ones. A couple of other ones that you might be able to look at, Barclays Premier, you can get Avios points, but that's a bit more complicated, and the Co-op, because it's £50 refer a friend. They are the switching offers that are happening right now. Now, in terms of other promos that have finished since we last updated, that Chase £20 offer, if you see that video in my last update, sadly that ended quite a while ago now, at the beginning of June. If it comes back, I will obviously let you know. Now, there is some more cash things coming along from student accounts. I will do a full update on student accounts in August, but right now HSBC are saying they give you £100 if you join. Natwest will give you £80. Santander are doing their rail card. I would hold off right now. Don't open a student account right now if you're a student. Wait until August. I'll do that update when we see all the offers from all the different banks. Plus, sometimes these freebies aren't the best thing. The best thing you might want to get could be an interest-free overdraft. But anyway, banks are starting to announce these, and they're not switching deals. They're just money you get as a student opening up one of those accounts. Now, you might have spotted a video that I did last month about Monese. Monese is a digital bank. It's not a fully regulated bank, not a fully licensed bank. It is regulated, but not a fully licensed bank here. So it doesn't come with, you can't use it for switching, for example. It doesn't have full financial service compensation scheme protection. And it's not been too bad. You know, recently, I've got one I've used it for is most months, and who knows, this could happen any day now. They might do it again. They often do a quick sort of flash sale where you get 10% or 20% off a selection of gift vouchers. Sometimes it's limited just to supermarkets, sometimes it's much, much broader, but I've generally taken advantage of that. Great to help on my groceries. That may well come back. Keep an eye on my social feeds, at AndyCleverCash on Instagram, at AndyCleverCash on Twitter, and obviously there is the Facebook group, becleveryourcash.com/community, where if this pops up, I will share it. But it happens so fast, there won't be time for me to tell you here on the channel. Anyway, the offer, the whole video I spoke about last month, is there's brand new promotion for new customers signing up and putting £250 into their account, their Monese account. They would then get 1.5% cash back on their spending for the rest of this year. But that only gave you like a week for people to sign up. So I put this video out and said, quick, get this now, right? Get it as soon as you can. And it ends at the end of June. they've now brought it back, the same promotion, and this time it ends at the end of July. So you've got a bit more time to open up that account and get hold of it if you want to, if that's something you're interested in. If you're an existing customer, again, check out that previous video or check out my full write-up over on the blog with all the ins and outs of how it works. But you can also get this 1.5% cashback if you refer someone who opens up an account for the first time and adds 250 quid. So a couple of things here to talk about this one as well. In addition, there was also like a refer a friend link. If you have someone who has a Monese code, they give it to you. You can both get up to 30 quid when you sign up. So it's well worth tracking that down. If you do not have a friend with a Monese account and you can't find a referral code online, there is a lower up to £20 offer that is running. I've got this link on my website. However, this is ending on Friday, the 23rd of July. So you haven't got long to nab this if you do want to get hold of it. It may well be something like this comes back and I'll let you know if it does. But if you want to get that, you haven't got a referral code, head over to the website, becleveryourcash.com. Go to that Monese article and that's where you will find that link. Now, obviously, 1.5% cashback sounds fantastic, doesn't it? It sounds like it's a lot better. I mean, very clearly, it is a lot better than 1% cashback, the best you're going to get with the Chase account. Or maybe you get the similar in Nectar points from the Amex Nectar. It's very hard to get more than 1% anywhere. Occasionally, one or two cards might give you something specific retailers or if you're paying a fee. So again, no brainer. This will get you the most amount of money until the end of 2022. But a reader got in touch, and I can't remember if this was on the community or on YouTube, quite where this was. But they got in touch, like, yeah, but what about, because Chase might only give 1%, but he also get 5% on the roundups. How does that work out? Is that better? So I've had a little look. Now, let's assume you're spending £500 on the card, just for this example, okay? And you can multiply this up or down depending on your spending. So if you spent £500 on Monese in a month, 1.5% cashback is £7.50. 1% with Chase is £5. So there's a £2.50 difference. I mean, not a huge amount really in the scheme of things, but again, all the pennies do add up, don't they? And again, this is just for 1 month. You might spend more than this a month, and we're talking about it over a 5-month period, so that will kind of multiply up. Now, that £2.50, how do you get that £2.50? How much do you need in that roundup pot with Chase, earning 5%? And if you're not sure how roundups work, I'm going to got a whole video looking at auto savings, so do make sure you watch that. Well, you'd need to get £50 a month and have that £50 of roundups in there for a year. So for every £10 that you are spending, that's £1 that needs to be rounded up. For every quid that you're spending, 10p needs to be rounded up. That's not impossible, but I imagine it's probably going to require quite a few small transactions, okay? So as an example, I think this might be really not worth kind of going down that route. You have a look at your own Chase app and see how much you're getting on the roundups. But here are the most sort of last half a dozen or so transactions I've made on Chase. I spent £21, 0 on the roundups, 0 pence. £24 and 37 pence, 63p rounded up. Okay, so that's a decent number, but as a percentage of it, it's very, very, very small. £11.75, a 25p roundup. £41.60, a 40p roundup. £1, no roundup at all. £13.99, 1 pence roundup. And finally, 39 pence with 61 pence roundup. So that one, significantly more going into roundups than I actually spent. But all the rest, actually, I'm well off that target of getting 10 pence in every single pound spent going into roundups. So broadly, I think, yes, 1.5% with Monese will beat 1% with Chase and the 5% roundups with Chase combined together. But again, have a look at your app, see what works for you, see what difference that makes. Now, I am not going to go into detail on this one right now because I did a whole video which you can check out. But I said I'll come back to Nationwide, and that is because they have ramped up the interest you get on the Flex Direct current accounts, the in-account interest. This is now 5% for the first 12 months. On the first $1.5 grand you have saved in the account. Alternatively, and this might be a different reason for you to get that account, you can also get for the first 12 months a 0% overdraft. And that could be quite sizable, so that could be a great way to build up your debt. It's either great for savers or great for people with debts to kind of get the best return they possibly can right now. Very, very hard to beat this. Obviously, I do my savings updates every single month as well, so make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already, and you won't miss out on those updates every month. But again, check out that whole Nationwide video for more on that. But it does make it one of my Best Buy current accounts once again. It's a very, very good rate to get. So well worth considering that. Plus, remember, switch into it, £100 or £125 for switching in. So combined, that could be worth £200 over a year. Another quick update for you. Again, a whole separate video goes into detail on this, but the Curve card, something that's been really, really handy for moving money between different current accounts and not having to carry loads of debit cards with you. They've made some quite significant changes. The free version will now limit you to just 2 different debit cards or credit cards on there. And you can only go back in time where you move the money after purchase from one card to another to 3 times a month. They would charge you if you want more cards or the ability to go back in time more. You have to pay for that. Again, check out the whole video, the whole review of Curve for you. This can still have its uses though, as the shortcut review now. Sometimes your particular debit cards can't be added to the likes of Apple Pay or Google Pay. This can be a workaround, so you can actually put your debit card behind it and link it on so you can still use it. And it's still a decent debit card for spending overseas. It's not the best one, but it's not a bad option. Particularly, I think it's quite good as a backup. So I'd still get hold of one of these. But I wouldn't necessarily use it for anything else other than one of those 2 reasons. And while we're talking about traveling overseas, Natwest have announced that you will be able to spend fee-free on their debit and credit cards until the 2nd of September this year. So if you have a Natwest current account and you're going abroad, you don't have a specialist card elsewhere, then maybe you can just get by and not faff around with it. I personally would still look at getting Chase, Starling, or Virgin Money or someone like that, or the Barclays card rewards credit card, because they are ongoing. They obviously could change their rules, but remember they're ongoing, so it's not just over the next few months, and not everyone travels just in July and August. And also you can use those other cards to get money out of a cash machine fee-free. The NatWest offer that's offering this summer, that one still will charge you for cash withdrawals. So it's worth knowing about it, but I still would think about getting one of those other cards instead. Something that popped up in the community recently on the Facebook group was around the Lloyds benefits, the lifestyle benefits that come with the Club Lloyds current account. Now, I've said before that when I had this in the past and I had a magazine subscription for a year, when I switched away, I still got that magazine subscription for a year. So potentially, and I always said this was never a guarantee, it could be a good account to open up, get the freebie, and then switch away to get those offers elsewhere. However, over in the community, David points out that he recently switched away. And the unused cinema tickets, he had free cinema tickets rather than a free magazine. The unused ones expired when he switched away. So what I would say now is my kind of guidance here. If you want to get a Club Lloyds account, I think it's a decent one to do. There's a switch offer that comes around quite regularly. I would not switch away until you have used up all of those cinema tickets. Or if you are going to want a subscription for a year, maybe this is one you just keep. Love to know your experiences on that. Let me know in the comments below if you have switched away and still continue to get the magazine. Again, it was a few years ago this happened to me. I don't know whether it's something different that happens to cinema tickets or whether they've just got a bit sort of stricter on this to prevent people taking advantage of the deal. And as ever, when it comes to these updates every single month, it seems there's always an update on more bank branches closing. And this time it is Barclays who have announced a number in June and a number in July as well. I think 29 that were announced in late June, 28 in the middle of July, on top of another 60 odd that they announced earlier in the year, on top of what loads of other banks are doing as well. I will do an update very, very soon, a whole video looking at your options if your branch is closing. Does it even matter? For a lot of us, I think probably not, but for some people who do use their branch, then that is going to be something you think, right, what do I do? So I will come back to you on that another time. And let's end up with my top banks. I like to give you this for July. Hasn't been too much change, but there have been a little bit of difference here. My number 1 account for everyday banking, that is still Starling. I still think that is the best all over app in terms of day-to-day, the things you want to do. As long as you don't need a branch, happy to do it all on an app. Starling wins all the time. The best account for everyday spending, I've normally said Chase because that 1% cashback, but I'm going to change that to Monese for that 1.5% offer that's running. Obviously, just for the end of this month. Who knows, they might run it again later. But if you can get hold of that, either you did it in June or you can do it in July, then for the rest of the year, it's going to be very, very hard to beat that 1.5% cashback unless you do go for a welcome offer at a Barclays card, Avios or Amex credit card. That does obviously top that one. But in terms of debit cards, I think that's great for everyday spending. Best account for bills is still the Santander 123 Lite account. Cashback on your bills. And if bills are going up, that means your cashback is going up. Not as much as they're going up, but it's absolutely even more, makes more and more sense to kind of get a hold of one of these accounts. My best account for rewards is still that Halifax reward current account. I go for £5 every single month. You could get a cinema ticket. Combine that with the bank switching bonus right now, and that is a fantastic win. The best account for in-account interest, normally talk about this more in my savings updates, but that is obviously going to be the Nationwide account, as long as you do have that £1,500 to put in there. Again, do check out that video as mentioned before for more details on that. And the best account for a 0% overdraft is also that Nationwide Flex Direct account. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Andy Webb. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the topics I've discussed today, and check out these videos here for more on your banking.